Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 24th, 2024 New Bern Board of Aldermen meeting. Prayer tonight will be given by Alderman Kinsey.
The person that's supposed to hold prayer for me is not here. So what we will do tonight is
Ask Brenda to do it.
Brenda, do you mind giving prayer tonight?
Sure.
Thank you.
Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here and to conduct business, dear Lord. We pray for clarity, guidance, and wisdom in all of the decisions that are to be made. And we thank you, dear God, for each person in here who has an opportunity to serve the citizens. Amen.
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 If you're able to stand, please do so as we pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Alderman Creel.
Here.
Alderman Royal. Alderman Astor.
Here.
Mayor Odham.
Here.
Alderman Kinsey.
Here.
Alderman Darst.
Present.
Okay, Board, next up is to approve the agenda. Are there any changes you'd like to make?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a change. If we can take, remove item number 11 from the agenda tonight, please.
Okay. Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to remove item number 11. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've removed item number 11. Any other changes?
Yes, Mayor. There's a organization in New Bern. It's called the Craven Pamlico TNR Project. This group has an opportunity to a $50,000 grant. And to be honest with you, I'm not so sure I understand exactly what they do and they don't do. So I would love to ask the board if they can allow a few minutes for this organization to come up and tell us what they do and how the grant will be used. Because the city needs to sign off on this grant.
Okay, so that's your motion to allow that group to speak. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussions?
No, as long as it's understood that it's just a presentation, that we're not going to be taking any action on the request this evening.
I think if we do anything, it would probably be some direction and get some advice from the city attorney. But yeah, you're correct.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we're going to add that. Next, any other changes to the agenda? Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda with those stated changes.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with stated changes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the agenda is now approved. So we will now discuss the Craven County TNR process. Alderman Astor?
Yes, Mayor, as I said before, this organization is a group of people that are helping with a feral cat population. And Lisa Lee is here tonight, and I've asked her to step up, or someone in her organization to step up and please explain this process. Lisa, if you don't mind, would you come up?
Okay. Do I just start by saying who I am?
Yeah, please, and your address.
Lisa Lee, 117 Gibbs Road, New Bern, North Carolina. We were blessed enough to have best friends choose us to receive a $50,000 grant for our area. And it was based on the fact that the county shelter has such a high intake and such a high euthanasia rate. And so they go around and they do their studies and they chose our area. What we are commissioned to do is to help the people that have been unfortunate enough or fortunate enough to have stray cats show up at their residence, and they feed them, and so they stay. So now we're saying we will come in and we will either trap them, or you can put them in a carrier if you've become friendly enough with them. We will take them away. We will spay and neuter them. We will give them a rabies shot. We will give them an VRCP, which is a distemper shot for a cat. And we will put flea medication on that also takes care of any ear mites, any problems that the cat may have, at no cost to you, because we've been fortunate enough to get the grant money. So we put this out. We have a Facebook page, and we put this out on Facebook. Right now, to date, we have 720 cats, and these go from Havelock to Craven to the city of New Bern. And we have a couple of ways to do it. They text my cell phone. Got every one of them on my cell phone. I then send them to Shane. She puts them on a spreadsheet. She sends them a message. She asks them to fill out a registration form. Right now, we have had 424 cats filled out by residents in our area that says, would love to take advantage of this, can afford to feed them, cannot afford to fix them. So that's how many cats right now this minute, and we're looking at today is 9 days into it. 9 days. So if it went viral, my guesstimate would be that we've got about 2,000 cats out there that need our help. We have the manpower to do it. Call us crazy cat ladies if you want to. We love animals. All of us have jobs, but we're willing to work hard to make this a successful project. And the one thing that is holding this check up is the city of New Bern. And that's just the truth of it. We're not asking to go out and set traps for cats that don't belong to anybody, that we're not sure who, if anybody's feeding them. We're getting contacted by your residents in this city that said that are saying that I'm taking care of these animals, please come fix them. So we're returning them right back to the same person that's asking us to come to their property and get them to begin with.
So Lisa, let me, if you don't mind, can I ask a few questions? Sure. One is, how long have you been doing this and paying for it out of your own pocket?
30 years.
I'm at 15.
I know I happen to know one of you, or a member of your organization, and there's several organizations that do this, right?
Exactly.
Okay. That has paid like $1,800 or something like that out of their pocket having cats spayed and neutered. Mm-hmm. But my question is, you're receiving a request from the homeowner.
Correct.
You're not going out on the streets and picking up stray cats and releasing them back to the streets.
That is correct.
And you have a form with the people's address on them that's requesting this.
They have sent it to us. They have sent it to us. I have a copy that I'd be glad to let y'all just pass around. Their name, how many cats they have, their telephone numbers. I mean, they're reaching out to us because of Facebook.
If I could add, I'm Jennifer Knight, and I'm at 223 New Street in New Bern. I have another pot of money, and I emailed you all this afternoon. I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to get it. Alderman Kinsey, I'm sorry I left you off that list. I will forward it to you. I just had never tried to email all of you before. But I have another pot of money, and I've gotten in excess of $50,000. So we have about $100,000 now in order to help address this issue for the community at large. And I have the same thing happening where I today spayed and neutered 6 cats for people that were from everywhere from Havelock to Sunnyside. And
downtown.
And I did Riverside, Sunnyside. I think I made a note about what today looked like to you all, but it was Riverside, Sunnyside, Havelock, and we were in James City. So these were 4 different owners, not owners, but people who had cats on their property. They come out of the spay neuter ownership. So they're released and we transfer them back to the people. And in many times, these were cats that were abandoned pets, so we actually get adoption out of them. So we don't put them back out anywhere and everywhere. We don't have a mechanism to do that at that scale yet. We're just looking at serving the people who
That
are
need us.
and really struggling for how to stabilize these animals in their neighborhoods.
So if I could just maybe clarify, you said the city is holding this up because that grant requires the city to say we essentially support your efforts and what you're doing. So I'm going to look to our police chief and our attorney. I believe, from my understanding, that our ordinance prohibits releasing animals in the wild or just letting them go. And that was the holdup with our conflict in our ordinance with this program. But now that we've learned that this is on private property where a homeowner is calling saying, please help me, they're picking up a stray cat, they're getting the cat fixed, taking it back to that residence. Is it safe to say that our ordinance doesn't necessarily apply in that particular situation?
That's a very good question, Mayor. Section 6.8 of our Code of Ordinances speaks to the issue, and it specifically prohibits abandoning animals. Abandonment would be, taking a cat or a dog or some other animal and just releasing it into the wild with no responsibility thereafter. Now it appears that this program, as we're hearing it tonight, contemplates a different type of release back to a responsible owner. I think it's prudent for this board in evaluating whether to support this effort or not, to have a written policy to be sure if grant dollars are involved, some written articulation of the program had to be furnished to the grant giver, to have that in our rules so that we can make sure that our support is consistent with the laws on the books, both our ordinance and the general statutes.
Okay.
If I could add, Jamie, when I've been doing this, because I've been doing this for years in downtown, what I advise people, especially when the ordinance changed and there's some significant fines involved in your cat straying off your property, I advise people immediately when we're bringing the cat back now, if this cat is yours and if this cat wanders off the property and an owner complains, these are the ordinance resolutions for this, so I make the person aware at least that they are getting into an area where they could have a situation because there's a couple $100 fine if your animal is considered stray and not on a leash and things like that. So there probably should be some resolution to that to make it a little bit more friendly to this, but that's how I'm handling it. I'm telling people what their consequences could be.
Well, if someone notifies them and asks them to come and pick up their cat, and they do, and they bring it back and turn it loose on their property, if that cat strays off somewhere else, it's free game for animal control, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And it's an owned animal, so the person who owns it does have to deal with the consequence of that. One of the things that I guess it's much more complicated in commercial settings. But when we're dealing with private property ownership, one of the things that is an issue for the grantors, and this is another, I've had 4 grantors, PetSmart and Bait, and a number of grantors over the years say that their problem with our ordinance is simply that if they invest in this animal, and animal control in the city is so inclined to pick them all up and bring them to the kill shelter and have them euthanized, then that is good money after bad, and the only reason that they want something like this in place is to prevent that from happening. And that's their concern. And it's not one grantor, it's everybody. Now, we can raise the money to do this within our own community and population, but we will never bring in the kind of large dollar grants that we need in order to do this, unless there's something done to mitigate this ordinance, because all of them look at this and say, there's your red flag, we're not putting our money into it.
And we are very lucky that John is staying the course with us, because it's very tiring now that we know that they're going to start having babies in November, and then they're going to start having babies again in March. So we're going to take 424 cats that they've already filled out, and some of them are saying very pregnant, just already pregnant, and we're going to turn it into 2,000. And if you don't believe me, just Google it when you get home tonight. That's just how it goes.
And Mayor and members of the board, I think it's important in the comment that Ms. Knight just made about mitigating our ordinance. You all do not have the authority to suspend our laws. So if this letter or this asking of support is in some way being construed so that we will not enforce our ordinances, that's not something that we can do. So I don't know if perhaps we need to unpack that further, but the board just needs to be clear about what it is that they're supporting and how that support will be interpreted.
So if, like the mayor said, if we do a letter and outlining our position that these cats are being picked up from a private residence, they're going to be spayed, neutered, and altered, or whatever you call it, and delivered back to that private residence, and that's the only thing that we can approve because of our ordinance, that should be okay, wouldn't you think? And we'll even ask Lisa or somebody to sign it, and we'll both have copies.
I think the best route is, one, having a written copy of the program, the parameters of the program from the organization. And then two, assuming that written program is consistent with our ordinance, then you all, in your discretion, can adopt a letter of support saying this program comports with our ordinances and we support the spirit of what you're trying to do.
Let me get Alderman Best. She's been wanting to ask a question.
What is the name of your organization again?
I'm Pause for Pause, Inc., and this new group is Craven Pamlico TNR Project. And there is a Facebook page, and one of your residents right downtown just posted this morning early that 1 week later, we've already got 3 of them spayed, and showed a picture of them on their porch and said, "This is awesome, I can afford to feed them, I just can't afford to fix them." And because all of us are pitching in money until this money comes.
So you know, the other organization receiving money is Helping Cats.
Helping Cats.
And they are the ones that were chosen by Best Friends as the nonprofit to be the recipient in this county of their funds.
Okay. So how much does it cost to spay one cat?
There's different prices. So like with the local vets now, they're giving us $100 for a female and $75 for the male, and then $24 for the flea and $10 for the rabies. And then when you go to the county, you can speak better to that.
So the county program is supporting 4 nonprofits for low-cost spay neuter. A female with a rabies shot and a distemper shot is $50. A male with a rabies and distemper shot is $75. What we're trying to do is make the average, or excuse me, it's $25. I said that wrong. I apologize. We're trying to make the average about $75 an animal, so that if you had to use one of the private vet spots, it's a little more expensive, but you'd offset that with the ones that the county has. I figured that with the money that we would be able to do about 420 cats. The money that's coming from Best Friends is, I think, requiring that they do between Craven and Pamlico counties 450, and they're requiring that they include Pamlico County as well. So, if she's gotten, and literally, into this sort of receptive, this is sort of a referral kind of thing that's starting to happen, she's gotten a request for over 700 animals. So, we're going to get $100,000 like that. Right. So, we are going to need large donor partners in order to really make
Well, now,
Best
Friends said, if you nail these 450, we will give you another grant.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Okay. So moving forward, you take care of the cats that you have currently. If you don't get your supporting funds, what would happen to the other cats? They would just still be out.
You mean if we don't get the grant?
Yes, another grant. You said
so
additional. You're going to need additional money. So if you don't get the additional grant,
what I'm seeing, and what my money is going to do, if I have, I say my money, the House for Cause money, our board has said that we really need to take this sort of one shot that we have at this kind of money and build the right kind of infrastructure for everything, fundraising and everything. And let me tell you what my experience was today. I took 6 cats, and this is in 2 weeks running I've had this experience. I took 6 cats over to be spayed and neutered. I come back, I return them to their owners. Somebody in that owner group ends up handing me a check because it's a donation. I spent $256 today at the shelter, and somebody handed me a $200 donation. Last week, I spent $130 at the shelter, and somebody handed me a $100 donation. So this money is going very far because the people on the ground are so appreciative of spaying a cat for less than $500 that they're willing to hand me $200. And it's that supported by the population.
Who paid for that, Jennifer?
Say it again?
Who
House
paid
for
for that?
Paws paid for that.
House for Paws has its money, so we're paying for everybody until the Best Friends Grant comes in, and we're hoping that the Best Friends Grant can come in.
I had one more question for you.
Sure.
Now, whom is John? You mentioned
He
John.
is the Best Friends.
Consultant.
He's the one that will send the check as soon as the city signs the
Okay.
form.
So who will be doing the spade and neutering for you?
Well,
What partnership you have there?
So
or-
we have Dr. Stamma at Animal
Okay.
Care Center. We have Dr. Shelton at News Vet Clinic. She does Mondays, and then she just called me right before I walked in here and said, I got a couple of open spots tomorrow. If you want to bring a couple of females in, bring them on. Because she realizes I have 9 pregnant cats I'm trying to get in.
And Dr. Osler over at the county shelter.
County
The county
shelter.
shelter is incredibly receptive to this. In fact, this is their brainchild. This really is something that they put together for us.
And then we reached out to Winnebago, and we secured 70 spots, and then they just flooded. I don't know if you guys saw that, but when we had that rain last week, so now they're 3 feet underwater, and so, but we really can't do anything without money.
I understand that. Yeah.
We've got about 110 spots a month, and so we can keep picking them off. We're not going to solve the problem overnight, but we have about 110 local veterinary spots without doing the large, regional.
And then you do the math at 720 cats, and we'll have 2,000 by the time we get doing 100 a month. It's just the way they do it.
Yeah, I know
You know.
their birth process is
Exactly.
real rapid.
They do. Twice a year.
Alderman Kinsey?
And now they're born to die, basically. That's the one thing I want everybody in this room to understand. These animals are literally born to die. There are not enough homes for them. No one needs to fool themselves that anything is going to take care of this without us spaying and neutering these animals. It's just not going to happen.
70 cats between owner surrender and animal control and transfer in came into our shelter last week. 70. They have no room. Either those cats die or they have to get rid of other cats.
And they're doing a phenomenal job. If you guys have kept up with Craven Pamlico now, they're doing a great job. They can't take the number of animals, and we're trying to keep the number to not go in.
Alderman
So
Kinsey?
please sign it, please fix it.
Is this time sensitive?
Yes, sir.
What is
And-
the
and I'll
time?
tell you
What are
why
the
it's
times
time.
that we're looking at right now?
I think that John told Marvin today, I'll let you speak.
Mayor and board, I did speak with John, and he indicated that as long as conversations are moving forward, they're good. And just a point of clarification, the only reason why we're discussing this now is the understanding when we went through the discussion was that there was a request for us to pause or basically put our ordinances
On hold.
on hold because there was discussion about Lawson's Creek and other places. So it wasn't just as simple as what we're hearing now. I mean, what they're talking about is something a little bit different, the support that our understanding was at that time.
So if we put realistic expectations, the board is going to get this information from you all. It can be disseminated out. We can have time to digest it. The next time we're going to be able to take action is in 2 weeks from tonight. That's our next.
Can we give
board meeting.
direction to allow the mayor to sign if he gets the suitable, if everybody agrees, or you and the mayor agree on the verbiage?
Well, I think it's important for the full board to understand the scope and breadth of the program, so that everybody's comfortable with that the program is the way we're understanding it in this moment, because the concept seems to have evolved over the last several weeks.
And I think it's also important for us to recognize that the city is not embarking on this program. We're not saying that the city of New Bern is going to be a participant in this TNR program. We're just saying that our ordinance, if we need to make some changes or adjustments there or some clarification, that our ordinance allows these groups to do the work that they're doing. I think that's a big difference in signing on as being a member or a participating agency in this. You guys are going to keep doing your work as you're doing it. You're just asking us to say it's okay to do it within our city limits and we're not breaking the law.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the thing is, the next thing is that, when will we start to looking into changing the ordinance where that when they come back to us, that they will see what the ordinance is and they would follow the guidelines of the ordinance?
That's a good question, Alderman Kinsey. As I understand the scope of the program tonight, the program seems to be compatible with our ordinance because there is no abandonment. That's what we prohibit. So I think it's important, considering the flexibility and how this arc has changed over the last several days, weeks, to make sure that process is in writing so that we're all comfortable that the program as it's going to be implemented is compatible with our ordinances.
Okay,
So
so
no
who will
ordinance
draft
change.
this, who will draft this agreement?
The letter that they're asking for
Yes.
support, I don't know if they have a form document.
No, I'm talking about the agreement that we're going to receive from this organization saying we support them going to private residence and picking up. Is that something that we need or not?
There should not be an agreement between the city of New
Okay.
Bern and
You
these
just need to
entities.
sign that form with John, is what, the way I understand.
What
I
I'm saying
think-
is that we may not be able to do that, and we may not have to do that, because John may not need a signature if we're operating within the laws of the city of New Bern by only working on private property.
So
You don't need a letter, and we don't need a letter, we all just say that we're doing it legally.
So let's do this, because we could probably talk about this all night. I think we all have a better understanding now of what your actual request is, and staff understands that. I think there's another meeting we're going to have tomorrow afternoon with a few of us to discuss this. If there are any changes that have to be made, understand it has to come before the full board. If staff reviews this and talks to John, the infamous John, and he says, I don't need that sign because now we understand you're not breaking the law, we're all good, then there's no further action for us to take. So I think the best thing to do, appreciate the information tonight. I think tomorrow when we have our meeting in the afternoon, if there's anything else that the full board needs to be involved with, we can get them involved at that time.
Alderman Kinsey and Jamie, Martin, I can send you two a copy. I did a synopsis of what we have been doing, what we're up to, and then what our statistics look like as of today, a little, snapshot. So I'll send it to you.
I got one more.
I was told this particular lady that is doing this, that I would mention this. TNR works. When they first started at a local park here, there was somewhere in the neighborhood around 40 or 50 cats. Today, after they have done TNR, there's 16. Because if they can't reproduce, nature's going to take care of the cats that's in the wild. But we're not talking about cats in the wild here. We're talking about people that are feeding these cats and giving them a home and stuff like that. So I just told them that I would mention that. So
I
got
can
me.
just read you right here.
Alderman Best?
As you said, Alderman Assa, you're speaking of the cats that are being fed by homeowners. But I'm also thinking about, what about those animals, those cats out there that are just stray cats? And we have our animal control that pick up those cats. Will they be allowed to take those cats to your agency? No. Okay.
They go to the county shelter.
Okay.
And that's why I believe that what Mayor Odham just said is exactly right. We're not breaking any laws. We are just taking care of the ones that are already being taken care of by the citizens in your city.
Yeah, well, I understand that fully, but I was just
And I wish
wanting
we
to know
could.
about the ones
Maybe
that.
if you change that ordinance and we'll do it.
I have a lot of community cats in the historic district on the commercial side, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've lived in the downtown district since '87. I have one kitten this year that probably came in under a car chassis to the parking lot. It's the red parking lot at the end of Craven Street. So we have been doing this to the extent that we don't have any kittens, and it really does stabilize the entire. If I get a call that somebody has a new hotspot or something like that, we go in and help. I'm working with Tryon right now, and we're seeing cats come in from Tryon Court, that we're seeing an issue there where these are animals that are either abandoned pets or they're just procreating without assistance. So on both sides, on Bern Street as well, we're seeing some hot spots. But in the downtown area where, like, after the storm, we had a real issue with cats under buildings at the waterfront and things like that. One new
out of the car.
My dog doesn't play well with kittens, but thank you. Appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Okay, board, next up is consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the board on items 4 through 7?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call vote, starting with Alderman Prill.
Alderman Prill,
Yes.
Alderman Astor,
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best,
Yes.
Mayor Odham.
Yes, motion carries. Next up is item number 8, presentation on 2023 Public Power Award from ElectriCities, Mr. Bouchard, and he has a special guest, CEO of ElectriCities, Mr. Roy Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Board of Aldermen. I'd like to introduce Roy Jones, the CEO of ElectriCities, and I believe he has an important announcement for us today.
Hey, it certainly is a pleasure to be here again this evening. Just real quick, a little bit of context here. Across the United States, there are 2,000 communities that own their electric distribution system like Newbern, referred to as public power. Here in North Carolina, there are 72 municipalities across the state that own their electric distribution system. And as we rolled out our strategic plan and began talking about, where are these public power communities in North Carolina, we have also members in South Carolina and Virginia. Where do they need to be, as we start looking to the future in 2030 was kind of our milestone that we put out there. We then came up with some priorities and some, activities, actions, improvements that the communities needed to make in their electric distribution system to kind of begin moving in that direction. And so each year we step back and assess the communities across ElectriCities and identify some of the communities that are in fact making progress towards that vision of where we want our communities to be in 2030. And so this year I'm very pleased to announce that Newbern is actually receiving an award in 4 different categories and making progress towards that vision of 2030. The first one is future focused, as you might think is, that mindset of focusing on the future, strengthening public power, providing superior power, and customer-centered innovation. And I want to highlight that one because I know you all with your billing system made some in-house changes to make things in the bill clearer to the customers so they can better interpret their electric bill or utility bill, if you will. And so just doing some great things here. When you think about the electric system, you got property taxes and you got your electric system. Those are your 2 revenue-producing enterprises, if you will. And being able to have that enterprise to really help you be able to accomplish the things you want to accomplish here in Newbern that are in the best interest of the community is a tremendous asset. So I just want to say congratulations in receiving the 2023 Public Power Awards of Excellence to Newbern.
Thank you very much.
Charlie, you going to accept that?
Charlie. You definitely need to be in that picture. Definitely. And thank you, Mr. Bouchard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is item number 9. Consider adopting a resolution approving the sale of 509 Darst Avenue. Mr. Williams.
Mayor and Board, Jose Sarabia tendered an offer of $2,400 for a purchase of 509 Darst Avenue. The offer was advertised, but no upset bids were received. The parcel is a vacant 0.037 acre residential lot with a tax value of $4,800. It was acquired jointly by the city and the county in August of 2015 through tax foreclosure. If the property is sold at this offer, the city will receive $818.85 and the county $1,581.15 from the proceeds.
Any questions?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the sale of 509 Darst Avenue.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call, starting with Alderman Astor.
Alderman Astor?
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey?
Yes.
Alderman Best?
Yes.
Alderman Creel?
Yes.
Mayor Odham?
Yes, motion carries. Next up is item number 10. Consider adopting a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Avolis Landworks LLC for Category D Hurricane Florence damage repairs, Jimmy Creek Drainage Basin. Mr. Childs.
Good evening, Board Mayor. This is a continuation of the Cat D permanent work related to Hurricane Florence. This is for the Jimmies Creek Drainage Basin. We advertised this originally for bid on August 1st of 2024, and we received 3 bids on September 3rd. The apparent low bidder of the project was Avolis Landworks for $644,300. We are recommending the board approve the city manager be able to execute on behalf of the city all contract documents related to this work.
Does the board have questions on item number 10?
Yes, George, is this, project here, is actually what's going on right now within the Dufferfield Canal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There's some that's related to Jack's,
Okay.
and then if you go along Trent Road, there's some places you can see
Right.
from Trent Road that's related to the Trent Basin,
Okay.
which is being contracted with a separate contractor.
Okay. So what is this? What is-
Bank stabilization, head walls,
Okay.
those types of permanent work to the infrastructure.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's no questions by the board, I make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Avolis Landworks LLC for Category D Hurricane Florence damage repairs, Jimmy Creek Drainage Basin.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call, starting with Alderman Kinsey.
Alderman Kinsey?
Yes.
Alderman Best?
Yes.
Alderman Creel?
Yes.
Alderman Astor?
Yes.
Mayor Odham?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, George. Next up is appointments. Anyone have any appointments this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to the attorney's report.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
City manager's report.
Just one thing, just a reminder that this Friday we have our Mom Feast is gonna happen, and it's gonna be off Pollock and Middle Street. It's gonna start around 6 p.m. They're gonna have street cafes, food trucks, beer garden, and some games and live music. So don't want to get this confused with Mom Fest, which is gonna be in October, 12th and 13th. But if you're available, welcome everyone downtown.
Okay. Is that all, sir?
That's it.
Thank you. Next up is new business, Alderman Priel.
One item, Mayor. At a previous meeting, the board had approved a motion to continue the discussion about the Ward 6 Alderman vacancy appointment to the first meeting in October. I'm going to be away at that meeting, so I was asking the board if they would consider a further 2-week delay, I guess, in continuing that discussion. And I'll make that in the form of a
Sure.
motion if it's necessary.
Yeah, if you'd like to do that.
What is your motion? I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to delay the alderman appointment to the second meeting in October for Ward 6. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Let's have a roll call on this one, starting with Alderman Best.
Alderman Best?
Yes.
Alderman Creel?
Yes.
Alderman Astor?
No.
Alderman Kinsey?
No.
Mayor Odham?
No. Motion fails. Anything else?
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to comment on that.
Sure.
I would think that if I was, for some unknown reason, was not present at a board meeting and it was asked of this board to delay a process or discussion or vote on something, that this board would have the decency to allow that. It is each board member's right to be present if they can help it and be present at meetings for discussion. And I can't believe that this board would deny that. If one of you was missing from a board meeting, there was discussions going on, you would want, I would think, and it was pertaining basically to your ward or whatever city business, you would want to be present.
Okay, Alderman Astor, new business.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I don't really have anything tonight other than I'd like to just report that 2:30 this morning I got some beating on my front door, and my neighbor, poor guy's house was on fire, and he's a great neighbor. His wife was in the hospital with some heart conditions. Praise the Lord for that, because I'm not so sure if she would have been able to get out of the house. But if everybody would, just please keep Charlie Webb and Francis Webb in their thoughts and prayers. He's lost everything, basically lost everything. And I also, at the same time, would like to, standing outside watching somebody's house burn and waiting for the fire department, seconds seems to turn to minutes, and minutes turn to half hours. The fire department was very quick to get on the scene. Police department was there supporting the fire department. The electric department was there because all of our electric went out, and Township 7 and West New Bern Fire Department was there supporting the New Bern Fire Department, so as well as EMS. And I know I've probably forgotten some people, but I just wanted to say job well done to our public safety and our electric utilities department. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderman Kinsey.
None at this time, sir.
Alderman Best.
You know, I never thought I would sit on this board, and witness some of the things that are being said on this board, some of the things that have been done on this board, and to be a part of this organization and how some of us on this board have acted in reference to different business that relates to our citizens of this city. It's just deplorable. And that's all I have.
Okay, and I have nothing tonight. Do we need a closed session?
No, sir.
Okay,
Make a
I
motion to
entertain
adjourn.
have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.